Hello and welcome to Soul Comfort Studio. Today, we will talk about Louise Hay's self-love tips. Have you ever thought that loving yourself can turn your life into 365 degrees? Louise Hay believed that it's her self-love that healed her cancer and her life. Yes, you heard that right. And in this video, we will discuss her top 5 on how to love yourself. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Now, I know that you've heard me say many times, or you've read or listened on the tapes, that loving yourself is the most powerful thing we can do. Then everything flows. Everything flows beautifully.
So if you want to love yourself, then I suggest you start with these 10 steps that I've put together. Absolutely number one, first of all, most important, and if you really get this one, you don't have to practice any of the others because they'll come automatically. The number one thing is to stop all criticism. Stop criticizing yourself now and forevermore. Never again. Make a vow to yourself, I'm not going to do this anymore. You have been criticizing yourself for years and years, and you're still criticizing yourself for the same stuff you were criticizing yourself for before. So it seems that it doesn't work. So why don't we try another tactic? Let's come from a place of being okay as you are, and you can make changes. I remember what a revelation it was to me when I discovered that I could make changes in my life without being a bad person. I didn't have to be bad and then change. I could be okay and just change. Criticism never changes a thing. So refuse to criticize yourself and accept yourself exactly as you are. Remember, everybody changes, everybody. But when you criticize yourself, your changes automatically become negative. You get into negative changes. And when you approve of yourself, it's amazing how your changes are positive. Our ability to change and adapt and flow with the process of life is our healing power. That's our healing power. We are powerful beings, and our power lies in the choice of thoughts that we think and the words that we use, because our thoughts are creative. They create our experiences. They contribute to everything we do in life. So you do choose the thoughts you think. You really do. Sometimes we think, oh, they zip by so quickly, but you really do choose them. So choose thoughts that are nurturing to you. Choose thoughts that are uplifting, that are supporting of you. If you really want to love yourself, it's essential that you stop criticizing yourself now and forevermore. Absolutely. And you can do it. You can do it. Just make a vow that that's what you'd like to do. All right, number 2, don't scare yourself. Please, if you love yourself, don't scare yourself. Stop terrorizing yourself with frightful thoughts, because all you do is make any situation worse. You don't make it better. And don't take a small situation and make it into a big monster. And don't take a scary situation and make it even worse. Be there for yourself, you know? It's a terrible way to live. And if you have a habit of doing this, I suggest you stop it. You just stop it. You know, how often do we lie in bed at night going over and over a problem, creating the worst possible scenario? We do this for illness, we get a pain, and we're immediately planning our funeral. A few people I think here have done that, yes. We do this for relationships. Someone doesn't call, and we immediately decide that we're totally unlovable and we'll never have a relationship in our life. And we're abandoned. We do this for work. You know, you hear a small remark at work and you think, oh my God, I'm going to be fired. You know, we build these things up. And remember, these frightening thoughts are affirmations, only they're negative affirmations. So if you have a habit of thinking negative thoughts that scare you, what I find is the best thing to do is find an image of something you really like, something that you love. It could be a sport, it could be a sunset, it could be some beautiful view, it could be flowers, it could be anything. And use that as a substitute. Pick that as your image, or like your switch to image. And every time the negative thought comes up, or every time you find that you're frightening yourself, just switch to this thought or this image. You know, and say to yourself, no, I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm going to think about sunsets, or waterfalls, or beautiful yachts, whatever your image is, whatever you want to choose. And if you keep doing that, you will break that habit. But it takes practice. It always takes a little practice. Love yourself enough to stop scaring yourself. Just stop that. Number 3 is be gentle and kind and patient with yourself. Just be gentle and kind and patient. You know, a good example of the power of patience is a garden. A garden is often to begin with just a patch of dirt, and then you add some seeds or some little plants, and you let the sun shine, and you water it, and you give it some loving attention. And to begin with, it seems like not much is happening. But if you continue doing that, if you're patient, things will change. The garden will grow and blossom. And if you think of your life as like a garden, or your mind like a garden, you know, what kind of garden would you like? What kind of events do you want to have happen in your life? And what kind of seeds do you need to plant in order for those to happen? So you select the seeds, you select the thoughts that will contribute to creating the garden of experiences that you want. And I like to think of planting these thoughts in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, where they get nurtured and then can grow. And if you pay attention to them, if you take care of them, then one of these days you'll reap a wonderful, bountiful, and beautiful harvest of all the things you want. You're learning new ways of thinking. Now, I realize that some of you have been working on yourself for a very long time. So some of the things I'm going to say tonight might just reinforce for you what you already know. And a few of you may be just beginning on your pathway of self-discovery. And some of the things I may say tonight might sound ridiculous, or you may resist them a lot. But remember, the resistance is part of the process of making the changes. When you ask the question, how do I love myself? You are already in process of beginning to learn to love yourself, because there was probably a time when you wouldn't even dream of asking the question. So you're already started there. So as you learn these new ways of thinking, be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, and be patient with yourself as you plant the new thoughts in your mind. Now watch for the weeds. The weeds are like the old negative thoughts, and pluck them out as quickly as you can. Remove those negative thoughts as soon as you see them. You want to treat yourself as you would somebody that you really, really liked, or as you would treat a gentle little child. You know, for yourself, that's important. And you know, it's okay to make mistakes while you're learning. You don't have to immediately be perfect. So many of us are cursed with perfectionism, and we won't give ourselves a chance to really learn anything new, because if we don't do it perfectly in the first 3 minutes, we again assume we're not good enough. But anything you're going to learn is going to take time. And when you first begin doing something new, it never feels right. You know, just for a moment, do this. I want you to clasp your hands. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but just clasp your hands, and I'd like you to notice which thumb is on top. Okay? Unclasp your hands and reclasp them with the other thumb on top. How does that feel? It feels strange, it feels odd, it feels different, it may even feel wrong. Okay? All right, now unclasp and put them the first way, and open them and put them the second way, and the first way, and the second way, and the first way, and the second way, and hold it. Now how does it feel? not so bad, not so wrong. We're getting a little used to it. Maybe we could even learn to do it both ways. Well, you know, it's the same thing with anything you learn. The first time you try it, it feels wrong, it feels strange, it feels different, and we immediately have a tendency to judge it. But if we just practice a little bit, it can become normal and natural. So when you're beginning to do your affirmations or change your way of thinking, just know all you need is a little bit of practice, that's all. You're not going to do everything in one day. You're not going to love yourself totally in one day. But if you can love yourself just this much more every day than you did before, like a quarter of an inch, and every day you do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, do you realize in 2 or 3 months you could love yourself this much? And all you did was this much every day, just a tiny bit. It's amazing. It takes just a little bit more love every day. You know, you can get up in the morning and say, I really want to love you more today than I did yesterday. And if you make that statement, the universe will hear you and find out ways to do that. Okay, number 4, be kind to your mind. Be kind to your mind. You know, self-hatred is really only hating thoughts you have about yourself. That's all it is. And you don't want to hate yourself for having thoughts. You gently want to change those thoughts. Change your thinking. You know, you are worth loving. All of us are. We do not have to earn love. In spite of the way some of us were raised as children, really, you don't have to earn love. You see, you don't have to earn the right to breathe. You have the right to breathe freely and fully because you exist. And you have the right to be loved because you exist. That's all you have to do. We are lovable because we exist. And we have to know that and make it true for ourselves. Speaking of thoughts, I talk a lot about affirmations. And we must remember that every thought we think and every word we speak is an affirmation. And far too often, they are negative. And we're not aware that the words and the thoughts these words and thoughts are shaping our future and our experiences. But when we talk about doing affirmations, we're talking about creating positive statements to create something wonderful and new in your life or to eliminate something for your life. So doing affirmations is one of the best ways to be kind to your mind because you create definite positive statements that build you up instead of beat you up. See, if you can think of your thoughts as building you up rather than beating you up. And so many of us, I know I certainly did, had a habit of beating myself up with my own thoughts. Thinking well of yourself is an act of kindness that pays enormous dividends, enormous dividends. You can also learn the difference between responsibility and blame. Don't get into this, oh, I'm having this negative experience, therefore I must be a bad person routine. That's a terrible thing to do. Responsibility is making a conscious choice of how you will respond to a situation or to an idea. What sort of thoughts will you choose? You have an experience. Okay, how can you learn from this experience? Or what can you learn from this experience? You know, Dr. Bernie Siegel says in his new book, Peace, Love, and Healing, that people who have so-called terminal illnesses and defy the statistical odds against them all share something. They have an acceptance of responsibility for decisions affecting their lives. They don't blame themselves, but they do accept responsibility. See, blame is making yourself wrong for having certain thoughts or for having certain experiences. But blame creates guilt. And guilt always seeks punishment, and punishment creates pain. So being kind to yourself means stopping all blame, all guilt, all punishment, and all pain. Respond to yourself and to life in a loving way. Now, another kindness you can give to yourself is to relax. Just relax. Relaxation is essential. It's absolutely essential for the healing process. It's really hard to allow the healing energies to flow within us if we're tense and frightened. It's like we shut off the energy. And it only takes a minute or two, a few times a day, to allow the body to let go and relax. See, at any moment, you can close your eyes and take 2 or 3 deep breaths and just release whatever tension you're carrying. Let's do that now for a moment. Just let's close our eyes and take a deep breath and just exhale and let go. Just let go. And let's do that again. Take another breath and just release all fear, any tension. And once more, take a deep breath. And as you exhale, just let yourself be centered. And you might even say to yourself silently, I love you, all is well. And then just notice how much easier your body is for the moment. That didn't take 2 minutes. And if you would do that several times a day, it sort of says to the body, it's okay. You don't have to go through life tense and frightened. You can be relaxed and still handle whatever you need to handle. Another kindness to yourself is to meditate. You know, as a society, we've made meditation into something mysterious and difficult to achieve. And yet meditation is one of the oldest and simplest processes there are that we can do. All we have to do is to sit or even lie quietly, close our eyes, take a few deep breaths, and our body again will automatically relax. We don't have to force it, it just happens. And we can repeat words like love, or peace, or healing, or anything that's meaningful to us. We could even say, I love myself, or I forgive and I am forgiven, or I'm willing to learn. And then just sit there quietly, and your answers may come immediately, or in a day or two, or whenever. The thing I do most of the time is just say, what is it I need to know? And then I just wait. And what I need to know is revealed to me. You know, you don't have to be rushed. Just allow things to happen. Remember, it's the nature of your mind to think. You're never going to stop your mind from thinking. Some people think that if they meditate, they have to stop their mind from thinking. But you can slow down those dashing thoughts. You just allow them to flow through. And you might, if you're meditating, just notice and sort of say, oh, that's a fear thought. There goes anger. Well, that's a disaster. That's an abandonment thought. You see, if you don't give them importance, then they pass through like a soft cloud on a summer day. And you just watch them go. You cannot meditate incorrectly. Any way you first attempt it is going to be right for you. You begin anywhere and you allow it to become a habit. See, we all have tremendous wisdom within us. Inside of us, I believe, are all the answers to all the questions we're ever going to ask. And unfortunately, most of the time, we're so busy running around creating the soap opera and drama that we call our lives that we forget to quiet down long enough to listen to us. Meditation creates the space where we can quiet down and listen to our inner selves. And you'll never have any idea how wise you are until you quiet down and listen. You can take care of yourself. You do have the answers for yourself. Become connected with yourself through sitting quiet, through meditation. You know, you can think of meditation as focusing on your inner voice. It's like you're focusing and listening. Visualizations are also very important. You create a clear mental picture or an image that enhances your positive affirmations. When I had cancer, I used to visualize cool, clear water flowing through my body and washing out the diseased cells, and my body responding and become very strong and healthy. Now, I know some people like to use visualizations of fighting their cells. They like to fight the disease cells. I personally don't feel good about creating a war in my body. And I think it's better to use an image that dissolves, like the sun could melt, or a magician could transform, or you could use some form of love to make the positive change. But when you're using visualizations, make them positive, some picture that works for you. And everyone can visualize, everyone. You're describing your home, having a sexual fantasy. You know, people who think that there's no connection between mind and body have obviously never had a sexual fantasy. Isn't it amazing what the mind can do? Okay, so let's use these visualizations in a positive way to really enhance what you're doing. Just like, you know, you've used negative visualizations to make a bad situation worse. You can use a positive visualization to make it better. Okay, number 5, praise yourself. Please praise yourself. Criticism breaks down the inner spirit and praise builds it up. So praise yourself as much as you can. Tell yourself how well you're doing with every little thing. Many of us refuse to put any effort into creating a good life for ourselves because we feel we don't deserve it. Our feeling of not being deserving could come from people telling us we didn't, but it could also come from something as simple as early toilet training or being refused an ice cream cone when we were young. Deserving has nothing to do with having good. It's our unwillingness to accept good in our lives. Allow yourself to accept good, whether you think you deserve it or not. And you know, when you think about deserving, there's a few questions I'd like to ask you about this to help you deserve the good that's in the universe. What is it you feel you deserve? What do you feel you deserve? Do you deserve love and joy and all good? Or do you feel deep down that you deserve nothing? Why? Where did that message come from? And are you willing to let it go? What are you willing to put in its place? What different message would you put there? Because remember, these negative messages, something that says you don't deserve or you're not worthy, that's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. What is it you want that you're not now having? Think about that and be clear and specific about what you want and what you deserve. What were the laws about deserving in your home? What did they tell you you don't deserve? Did they tell you you deserve a good smack? Is that the message you got as a child? Did your parents feel that they deserved good things? Do you always have to earn in order to deserve? And were things taken away as a child when you did something wrong? Now, do you really feel you deserve? Do you feel good enough, smart enough, tall enough, pretty enough, bright enough, whatever? What belief is in the way of your deserving? Do you believe you're not good enough? There's not enough money, I'll never amount to anything, I'm not ready yet? What are the beliefs that are in the way of you really deserving? And then the last question about deserving is, what do you have to live for? What do you have to live for? What is the purpose of your life? And what meaning have you created? You know, you're here for a reason. You didn't come just to get a new car every so many years. You really came for a purpose. And what is your purpose? What are you willing to do to experience the good you really deserve? Are you willing to do affirmations? Are you willing to do visualizations? Are you willing to do treatments? Are you willing to forgive people? Are you willing to do regular relaxation and meditation? How much mental effort are you willing to give in order to change your life? Questions to ask yourself.
Which of these 5 is your favorite? Comment down below because we love to hear your comments. And if you learned something from our video, click on the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep you posted. Until next time.